Less fortunate.
Lucia's got a job.
Stop.
She's working.
Yes.
She's being fun. Oh, good. Thank you. Just secure, got you alive. Don't say it. All right. Welcome everybody to the town of Windsor, November 3rd town workshop. Before we get going, can everybody stand please for the pledge? Sylvia, you got it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Have any? Before we get going here, we got the full house here with us. I got Deputy Supervisor Steve Morrell, Councilwoman Sylvia Santiago, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Eve Lincoln, Councilman Charlie Rowe, the Highway Superintendent Anthony Feo, off camera, the Police Chief Danny Valeri, our Town Clerk Tricia Clarino, Town Attorney Dave Zagat, Sue Shavels with us in the audience here, receiver taxes, and on the keyboard is Justin there from IT department. So I'm not feeling so hot that we're gonna get through this tonight with no issue. So the first on the agenda, I just want to make you guys all aware. So there's 3 different boards here. So the Bureau of Fire Prevention, there are 3-year terms. You got several members up. You're going to see we're going to be voting on them, but they're all. I spoke to all of them. They all wish to be reappointed. It's Sean McGrath. So what these are made up is there's 3 people from the Investigate Fire District on this board, 3 people from Passaic Bridge Fire District, 1 from Salisbury Mills, a civilian member, with actually 2 civilian members. And they vote on variances and stuff like that. So they're just asking to be renewed for the 3-year term. Sean McGrath, Mick Saylor, Tom McGinnis, Phil Billick for Salisbury, John Seymour is a civilian member, and the building inspector Jennifer Gallagher is a civilian member. So they're going to be reappointed to their terms. The zoning board of appeals is a little bit different here. So we received a letter from the member Rich Hamill. Rich has served for many, many years, and he just felt that it was time for him to. He asked actually if he can become an alternate and not the actual member anymore. He's just. He said it'll be just a little easier for him to handle. So Mike Schwartz, who is up this year as the alternate, we're gonna. It was requested to switch roles here, so Rich is going to be appointed to an alternate for a year, and Mike would fulfill the new 5-year term on the zoning board. And then that'll keep us with a full board there. And we're good with that. And the planning board, the only new one that needs to be renewed on here is Sean McGrath. He's up in the end of this year. I spoke to Sean and he does wish to remain on the planning board for that. So he's going to be renewed on there as well. So you can see those 3 people. Will be full. Well, our board's still full, but luckily the zoning board worked out where we can just flip flop those and not have to go crazy doing interviews and stuff like that. And I think everybody had a copy of the letter, right?
Yeah.
If we didn't, I have it here. So that's the boards. Next thing on the agenda is of course, as fate has it, wait for my term to be in office and our term for everything to happen here. So I went out to the several months ago. Went out to this recreation road. If you know where the can plant is, up on Burning Road, behind that is we have a pump station back there. It's actually called it's Water District 9 or Pump Station 2. It's actually it's the main. We're going to call it. It's the main brains between the tank and the water tank up on Karate Lane, and that the plant up there, or the wishes for the new plant up there to feed actually this end of town, and it's a pump station, if you will, pumps up to that. In order for us to, when we upgrade and add a tank up on Karate, and then perhaps one day, hopefully in the near future, build a water plant up there, this pump station needs to be upgraded. However, there's some issues going on in the basement there. The floor is cracking. It's, a few years old. They're getting a lot of hydraulic water coming up through the floors. The infrastructure inside is aging. It's got a tank on the front of it. If you see on the front picture here, that's the water pump station. There's a tank of we got 3 or 4 of these tanks in town. Needs a little work. The generator was you see the generator picture was like a donated generator back eons ago from a local contractor. So it does need some work. MEG went out there. They did, they put together a whole, proposal on, what would need to be done and so on and so forth. And there's two different quotes. There's alternative 1 and 2. MEG recommends, alternative 1 to be completed, and it's $3.9 million. Call it 4. And then alternative 2 is 4.6 million, call it 4.7. So it's something that we're dealing with. I know we're gonna be talking to to our comptroller during and a little more about perhaps bonding, obviously this and through the water district and stuff like that. But it's work that definitely has to be done either in conjunction with or prior to anything happening in our water plant. So this is something that's I want to just have it on your radar so you're aware of it, that it is something that's going to be done. This is actually the report. If anybody really wants to put eyes on it and kind of peek through it, but that's coming soon. Number 3, Union Avenue extension on River Roads. So I had a motorist, a guy call me one day, lives, I don't know, Fort Montgomery or something like that, or not even in the area. Called and said he had an issue, took exception with an intersection, at Union Avenue. At least I thought he said Union Avenue and River Road. I misunderstood him. After going down and look at it, I said, really, there's not really much of a concern I didn't feel. This is the intersection where they redesigned by Plum Point, where it comes out in 4 different ways there. Then after looking at it, I went down there again another day because something was bothering me, it wasn't right. And I'm like, you know what? The guy actually said Union Avenue extension to me, which is just down north of that.
Yep.
And I look at it, and if you look at it, it's how it comes down, and it almost runs parallel to River Road, and you have to come out and make a left out of it. So the guy coming up River Road, as you know, there's the fog lines literally on the banks of the edge of the road. Car made a left in front of him. He had no place to bail on. He almost, the guy almost crashed. He didn't crash, thank goodness. So he said, listen, I think it's a concern, something we should look at. I called the police department. Lieutenant Monahan did some, which there's a memo here. I think everybody got a copy of the memo. Said that there was, after reviewing the area, there was been like 6 accidents in a year's time there that was, probably could have been avoided. So the wish for this motorist ask was to have a no left turn. So if you come down that hill, so you come down that hill, that there be no left turn going River Road north, which is not a bad idea. After looking at it, so we have to petition the state because it intersects with a state road. So we have to ask them to put our ask is going to have a no left turn put on the shoulder, the northbound shoulder of their road. At some point, we're going to probably, Anthony, and we have to go through another town board change, maybe put 2 no left turns on our road. So as you come down to it, you can see no left turns. And then when you get it, and if you didn't see those 2, one across the street as you're looking at it, we'll see no left turn. Hopefully, that'll alleviate any further accidents at least, and maybe bring the awareness to people. So we're going to be putting in a letter to the state petition. I'm asking them to look into that as well, because it's the intersecting with them. I think any town roads intersect with the state's responsible for putting the signage up, right? Anything. So for the most part, like stop signs, stuff like that. So hopefully we can get that done. So that's what that is. Number 4 on the agenda is marijuana retail dispensaries. So I've been having some, I know we've been going through some budget stuff, looking at some revenue generating ways, things that we can do. I know I brought it up to you folks a couple of times. We talked about it, off the record here, if you will. And, when I saw you guys, and I know, I just want to get everybody's thoughts on what you think about it. I know, I will tell you, the town of Newburgh does have it. I will tell you, for transparency, you look back and you can look in the records that originally when we talked about this, when I was a council member, I didn't do backflips over it because I was thinking, we're going to attract some undesirables. It's not a good thing to have. What are we doing? And meanwhile, some of the places in town, some of these establishments in town decide to go do it anyway, right? And the police department has done a couple operations where they've caught some, with the Department of State and everything, we've caught some people doing some not good things. We do have a growing facility here in town, and so I reached out to town Newburgh and I asked them what their, what kind of revenue they generated. And one of their council members got back to me with some numbers. He said to date, from 8 of 2024 to 9 of 2025, they collected $574,000 in revenue from these dispensaries, which is, although it's not, he did say it wasn't consistent at all. They were getting about 115,000 per quarter. And that's between 325 and 525, and it was only $48,600.
Yeah.
But still, I think it's some missed revenue, if you will.
I agree.
I will tell you that, it's not just a revenue generating thing for me as far as, listen, I still have the feeling that I asked the 10 Newburgh in reference to issues with the undesirables and stuff. They really haven't had anything to speak of, if you will. Nothing, crazy. Again, I think it's something that needs to be monitored like anything else. We just did the police department just did a spa sting and we controlled that, and they've done the smoke shop stings and we've controlled that. I don't know. I want to get everybody's thought here. What do you think about it? I mean, it's certainly
I think, and certainly in my discussions with the chamber, I think a lot of municipalities, we're not alone, Steve.
no.
I think initially a number of municipalities said, now they're starting to look at the revenue and the fact that, and my background, I don't think those issues are being experienced, right? But it's a definite revenue generator.
Oh.
Is the Chamber of Commerce for it? They would like.
Well,
us
yeah,
to
a lot of
consider.
municipalities, I believe now, I believe a number of municipalities are very much in the discussion phase like we are now. And I don't think we're dealing with those issues. You and I are in the same boat on this, that.
So there was,
So I really think it's worth a much deeper look.
So Dave had done back in 2021, did a pretty deep dive on, the whole setup and how it went. I believe, if I'm mistaken, that at the time we needed to either opt in or opt out. And then if you stayed in, you didn't have the option of opting out. But since we opted out, we can opt in at any time,
Right.
which which we can discuss. I'm not certain how many, I know there's a percentage take, and I don't know how, what's the latest percentage. I don't want to have Dave do more work or look at, from 5 years later moving forward. If there's not much support here for it, then I'm really not gonna, have him waste his time on stuff. I know, back then, the retail sales on marijuana was about, that was a 9% state excise tax, a 4% local excise tax, and 3% counties received 25% of that 3% of the 4 there. So, there is money for it. I don't know, I think tomorrow would it close any budget gaps? No, but I think it's a revenue generator. I really do. It's something that, we could, I think we'd have to probably do our own research in-house as far as, town code and stuff like that we can certainly put some guidelines on it, but I'm not against looking into it. Steve, what do you think?
Anything to help lower household taxes is good. So I'm with it.
So, yeah.
No, just the same, that you felt, when we first, decided not to join, we were a little bit concerned and we said we'd wait to see how it went. And so here we are.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna use the recreation model with the 10 We're gonna open our doors for that to kind of see what we want to do in the future. And we certainly had a model here. I know the neighbors next to us in Newburgh, opted in, I think they believe they do it. Like I said, I'm not against just starting some again. I don't want to, so we'll do a little more homework on this, see where we're exactly at with it. I think we're going to be having some meetings maybe with the chamber. We'll,
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Get some more info and, so I can throw it back to you folks and educate us a little more on what we would do and how they would do it.
Yeah, those discussions are on the schedule. We'll get that out. Yeah.
And, like whoever I bump into now, I'll ask what they think and just ask random residents, get the feedback. Are they strongly for it or against it? Or
No, definitely. I mean, it's like, listen, I know there's gonna be, if you look at every corner you turn, there's a smoke shop in town.
Right.
They fit in the zone, until we change, I know a lot of people think we can just, and I'm learning this because I go in there and say, I go to law, sorry, we gotta do this, or we can't. It's like, you can't stop it. We can, slow it down or move it, or we gotta, do something with it, but you can't just, write a code and do away with something. A lot of these smoke shops fit them. That's why we hit them more often than not. If they're bad, they get closed down. If they get admonished or something happens, then we'll,
Right.
and no, it's no.
But we
gonna
wouldn't
no
be getting
diff-
any revenue from them anyway.
No, exactly.
So you know what I mean?
It's gonna
So
be no different
We're
from
gonna
this,
do it
so
correctly, let's do it
we'll
right.
certainly
Absolutely.
watch them and monitor them, so. That's where we're at with that. Next thing is the hazard mitigation plan. So I was kind of we're kind of back and forth with this. So as you guys know, we actually have currently a hazard mitigation plan that's good till next year. We had two options, go out and start the 18-month process to redo it, or try to hop in with Orange County's mitigation plan. We did get a quote from a firm that did our mitigation plan last time, it was 22,000 and change to redo it. I called the county and I said, listen, how much if you guys do it? And they said 0. So I like that fee better. However, we did have to use our engineer, which charged us a couple $1,000 to give us some info. Our engineer did do some work for us. Jeff in my office was huge with this, getting this done back and forth. So it looks like, the county's plan and our annex has been approved by FEMA. Our annex is still work in progress with dishes, which is New York State, which is where I believe going up. I think it may even going up today or going up this week to get our approval for our annex. And then hopefully next month, we're going to approve our hazard mitigation plan. Again, our current plan is still in effect. And it won't take over until we do a town board resolution to approve it. Once we do the board resolution to approve it, we're good for another 5 years at, a fraction of the cost. I mean, well over $20,000 savings. So I think we did good with that one. So that's coming soon. I just wanted to bring up, so phase 2. So I don't know if you guys been around or seen down at the sewer plant, but we've got, I've been down there just about every day. I drive through there on my way to work and peek at things. And so phase 1 is well on the way. The building's up, half of the roof is on one side, the other half will hopefully be soon. They'll have that, they want to have it closed in weather tight for the winter so they can work through that inside and have that done. I met down there the other day with our engineer for phase 2 and the contractor that we hired. This Thursday at noon, there's a groundbreaking ceremony down there, right down at the, right kind of in front of the phase 1 building, the new control building. Quickly, and then, that'll be quick. It's gonna be put on by the trades. Todd DiOrio from the union and stuff. They're gonna, do the whole thing with the chairs and everything. They're gonna have some banners up there. Just, the county, obviously, we got phase 1, we got the CDBG money out of it. So we invited everybody who comes. I chose, normally we would have some coffee and donuts after. I chose kind of not to do that because that's not a good place to be eating donuts and drinking coffee. When I was down there, it's, so we're gonna do our thing and thank everybody and all the trades and everybody for doing what we gotta do. And thank you guys for making this happen. But we're kind of excited to see this done and hopefully some smell things going and and the plant running and good. So that's it with that. I appreciate it. So the next thing on the agenda is ethics disclosure form. So this is not only the form, we're gonna update the code. When I say we're gonna update the code, we're gonna add, like I brought up the last meeting, I wish to add all of the deputies, any deputies in that we have in town, would be receiver taxes, the town clerk, the deputy police chief, and all of the IT staff are gonna be required to fill out the ethics disclosure form.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna change the code. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add the deputies in the form. And also in the code, we're gonna add either written or electronic form. So John O'Malley from the ethics board had actually created like a Google's document to do the form, basically did the form in it. The form asks you, like you own a business in town. If you don't click yes, you can't move forward. If you click yes or no, then you can move to the next question. It's basically the handwritten form now, but on the computer. I've done it a couple of times because they've been trying to do work in progress, changing it. And it works pretty well. It's so much easier. I think it's a lot more legible for them. So in case somebody, and the way the form is created on the Google's form, that there should be no boxes unchecked and no section unfilled because it won't let you go to the next one. So that's we're gonna vote on to change that. And then I would say before January, Patty's gonna have, now I don't know how we're gonna incorporate, I'm trying to take it out, kind of a little out of your hands that you don't have to worry about
I'm good with that.
you know, sending letters out and all that stuff. So hopefully it's kind of gonna be more, a span of control to the ethics board, but, you know,
So,
those people.
IT.
Yeah, through, well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep them out of it because it's ethics. It should have nothing to do with any of us in town. It should be the form.
Go right to.
The Google form will go right to the ethics board members. I just gotta figure out a way, like, you would know if somebody came in and dropped it off and you check them off the box,
Yeah.
you won't have that option anymore.
Okay.
So somehow we gotta figure out how you can be in that whole chain somehow of saying, hey, listen,
I remind. people
yes, when it comes down
sometimes
to,
because they get-
however, I
people are
think,
busy,
I
so.
think the way it's gonna be done is it's gonna send out daily, like, email reminders if it hits a certain date to these people, so.
Mm.
I think we might have it, we're gonna bring it to 2025, so, I think we might have it figured out, but.
You just give a prize to whoever filled it up first.
Yeah.
Mm.
They'll do it.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
be.
Well, you know, I'm gonna get that, so, cause I do it every year, right? Come on,
First day.
every day, I'm like, she's not even in the office yet, I'm saying at the window,
Yeah,
here.
You're like,
But, so that's that. The next thing on is the budget, so everybody got, you know, I think everybody has their packets. I did take, in an effort to save some money. I know Charlie brought his back and I gave him my last 3 years of my binders empty back to Doreen, so.
I gave
Forgot.
mine back too.
Sorry.
So, and Steve did. Steve was actually the first one, I'm sorry. Charlie did bring his here and I took it out of his bin this morning.
But,
And
Oh, I was wondering what binder was there. I should have asked.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
forgot.
we're saving money to give, to recycle, so we're gonna get it back next week anyway.
Partisan under,
So.
binder.
But, so, you know, that's in place. Wednesday's the public hearing on it, so we'll be, voting on the budget on Wednesday. Anybody got any comments, anything? Like to add or talk about? No, nothing? So that is Wednesday, that'll be that. We'll put that to bed for another year. Next thing on there is the townwide phone system. So I know we've been bouncing around about this for, quite a bit of time. After several meetings with the IT staff and going back and forth, you know, like right now, I'm gonna say, you know, obviously with the board changed the insurance companies, right? We did that and I've been looking at the phone system. The phone system costs us, you know, to get an accurate accounting of the phone system is, I wanna say nearly impossible because of certain little nuances to it, but I mean, we're talking between 40 and 50, 55,000 a year to have our phone system. When we're all said and done with this, we're gonna pay about $17,000 to buy the equipment, which is new phones, regardless of what phone system we use, whether it be the current phone system, Cisco provider or somebody else, we need to upgrade our phones anyway. So we, after doing a little shopping, we're gonna go, my wish was to go to the cloud like everybody's doing now, because we have literally a guy on a telephone pole holding wires together for us. I said, we should, again, propel ourselves into the times now. So $17,000 for the equipment and a year, about no more than $7,300 a year for this phone system opposed to in the 50s. So again, it's, you know, a little change. Well, it's gonna be a little getting used to. And it's a little different type, like, you know, Cisco, sometimes a 3 or 5 year contract. These are like, they do month to month, but there's a million of these carriers out there that you can go to. They picked a company, 3CX they did. I know, my IT staff, John McDonald's been working on it with me. He's been working a lot with Cisco and talking stuff, Patrick Mangan. And I won't leave Justin out. Justin and Danielle are, they're like, whatever. If we gotta fix it, we'll do it. But, the phone systems are gonna be coming out. The, IT at some point are gonna be going around, to the department heads and kind of gauging what kind of phones you want, because there's some, I guess, things that have a little more options on them. Some got bells and whistles, some don't, but the prices of them are fractional of what these would be. So again, thank you to all of the people involved with that, the IT people. We looked into, you know, how we procure this, and it's, there are 2 different companies we're using, so we're under the threshold for that. So that's gonna be another cost savings measure that we're gonna do going into the new year. And it's been this way for a long time, and now we're changing it, so I appreciate that. The standard schedule of fees, we're doing a little upgrading to that. So the upgrades, I think all you folks have gotten it. We're gonna do a little increases in some fees. I don't know, Patty, did we land on some numbers? I know there's been some there's been some boxing matches going on between the Keith and you and how we're gonna do it. I know it's red line. I think we landed on perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong, or we didn't. Dave said,
I put numbers in.
Dave wants to know, yeah.
Didn't hear
So,
if there was an issue.
no, I think what I'm talking about the
I don't
town,
know what the finalized numbers were.
So-
I just know we were deciding whether.
so I know, so the conversation was,
That we did.
Okay,
what's that?
I said that we did.
the Orange County.
There's three. So what we're gonna do is there's gonna be three columns for charging for plots, we'll call it, or whatever. There's gonna be town resident. There's gonna be a fee for which is not gonna change. There's gonna be a county resident fee. And then there's gonna be an out-of-county resident, or we'll call them non-resident fee. So we're gonna have three different fees for the cemetery, which is off, I don't wanna call it a revenue generating thing, but it's gonna, it possibly could.
Well, it protects
It-
our taxpayers.
does.
Because eventually it's always gonna rely on our taxpayers to take care of the cemetery. So if you have someone coming out of county to buy plots, because we're pretty cheap, you wanna make sure that eventually.
Which happens often, right? Yeah, I mean, I know it happened a lot during COVID. And I don't want to say by any fault, people just, they have family here and they live out of town,
So it's gonna be based on the purchaser, where they.
Well,
live,
no,
where
no,
not.
no,
That's where the purchaser lives.
so,
Like to purchase the plot, interment's gonna be different.
so yeah, so the purchaser is gonna pay where they live, but, so I had this conversation with Patty and I said, I'm gonna use the example. I get buried in there. And I buy my plot and I get buried in there and I want my dog with me or somebody, whoever,
Okay.
whatever. Whoever's in that plot with you, if they live out of town, if they don't live in Orange County, they're gonna pay interment fees from the county fee. So
Right,
the
right.
out of county, not, so the purchaser doesn't go with the burial to an interment. So, because you can purchase, and I think we needed to discuss this. You can purchase 4 plots, if you will, and live in New Windsor and then go move to North Carolina. And then your interment fee is gonna be added.
It's kind of like a perpetual
Yeah,
care.
it's gonna be out of county.
Because-
You're gonna pay for. So-
Taxpayers pay to upkeep the cemetery.
You bought it cheap.
Yeah.
At the town, you were here, and then you move out and you're out of here for 20 years.
Mhm.
And then you come back in and now your interment fee is gonna be the out of county interment fee. So, and I don't know, I look at it as, I just, unfortunately, I just lost my mom and, whoever's left behind is the one that pays that, right? So, that's plan's gotta be made for stuff like that, people gotta take care of that. But, it is an increase in fee, but it is, Dave did a lot of, did some research with some, we'll call it New York City.
Right.
And there's, we charge $1,200 for some, and some people pay $5,000 or $10,000 for plots. It's like insane, but, so we are, we definitely are cheap. And, that cemetery is kept up nice, and it'll be even nicer when we pave it next year. So,
Wasn't there ever discussions in the past about, making a small building for, what's it called?
so we.
Like a mausoleum, what's it,
So-
mausoleum?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
We talked about, this, so
Yeah.
like a
That's more-
crematory, like niches, like
Right,
crematory
am I-
niches.
am I getting more
So
popular?
I actually reached out, while we were talking today, I reached out, to, there was in Blooming Grove, they have a cemetery there that. I was coming back from Goshen one day and I saw that they had a building put up. I called there. I had somebody run over there and grab the name off the tag, whoever built it. I have several emails from the guy, but I called, we can go online and buy some if we want, but I'd rather have something more. It's definitely, they're not cheap, but. To get, it will be a return on investment. No, when you have to figure out what you're gonna charge, you have to do the math before we go, pull the trigger on it. We do have a couple of nice spots. To really put them by the pond there or something like that. We can really put some of
I
them up
think
there.
people want those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I wanna get in the business of doing full body, interments like that.
I was thinking.
I would say just the,
remain.
Yeah.
just the cremains, we just do a cremain niches and, and do a.
We have
a
to figure
set-
out where we're gonna put it though.
So, well, I think I would say, I don't know, for me, I would say closer towards like the water, if you will. It's just, I don't know, not that, it's, yeah,
It's a spiritual thing.
but yeah, it is, it's pretty cool. But, yeah, so we're actually looking into that. We're gonna, again, that's a whole nother thing where,
That's-
where's that money come out of when you do it? You go spend $400,000 out of the general fund for, for ditches for somebody to come out of Long Island to get buried in them, you know what I mean?
It
So-
would be the same.
I get it, but that's the things we gotta put her, exactly.
Exactly.
we gotta put our head to that, but that's,
There's a finance component to it.
yeah. And there's, I think, some animal dog fees too. We were changing some, like boarding fees, like, or some
Make the
adoption,
Same
stuff like
mistake I
that.
made.
We're changing a few of those, but nothing crazy. And I think there's a dog in the kennel now, right? Yeah, it was, found out in the state forest, yeah. Oh my
It's always the
God,
beagles, the wanderers.
yeah,
He's older.
it'll be at Patty's house next tonight. Um. That's it. I said I was gonna rip through it, but a half hour, not too bad. Anybody else got anything want to bring up, say, nothing?
I don't know.
I will say before you make a motion, I know it's the eve of election night, but good luck to anybody that's running out there, anybody, whoever's running. I know it's, other people take it for granted, but it's a lot of work when you do this, especially, when you're opposed. So again, I appreciate everybody, appreciate you guys here.
I'd like to make a motion, move to the executive session to talk about justice court.
Yes.
I would second that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Look at Dave gets impressed every time we do this.
A little better.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Night.